Hi Jason, this is Andrew, and I'm going to show you how to do this thing. So I'm opening up the Colonix data set. I wait for it to load. 889 images here. You can tell it's a very good data set because there are lots of slices. Very, very fine slices. So that means there's a lot of data. And what we're going to do, and this is to image the air, right? So this is a study where you can tell that they've inflated the bowel. So what we're going to image is really the air here. Image filters, invert data, right? And now what we're going to do is we're going to go through in the 3D view and we're going to cut out everything that isn't the bowel. And so 3D volume rendering. And this is what we've got. Now it's hard to see at first, but it's all there. So I'm going to adjust the window leveling. I'm holding down Option and just dragging up, clicking and dragging up. And so this is the air inside the bowel. All right, and so what we're going to do is we're going to use the scissor tool, and we're going to do this. Draw with Wacom pen, and then I'm going to hit delete. Right bracket will take you back to this tool right here, which is the object or move tool. Oops, hit escape, I didn't mean to do that. So hit right bracket. Oops, no, I guess it's left bracket. Left bracket. And let me change the background to white so we can see this a little better. Scissor tool. The scissor tool is really very, very useful. Use it more and more. It does a lot of what we would do ROIs with. Now, if I were to hit, I'm going to hit delete, but if I were to hit return there, it would keep what was inside the selection, this shape around here, and it would delete everything outside of it, okay? And so we might use that in a minute if we can. Let's see if we can get this turned. And yeah, so we get it turned in just the right way. And this time I'm going to use the polygonal. I'm just clicking and tapping rather than drawing. Oops. Try that one more time. And it's just line of sight. You know, I just make sure that I've got everything outside of it. So now I'm going to hit return instead of delete. And it's going to delete everything outside of the selection. And this is to make the bowel, right? So this is diverticulosis here. Jejunum, more highly folded jejunum, ileum, smoother. And the reason you don't see anything here is not because it's not there. It's the only thing we're seeing is air, and this person is lying on their back. So that's the level of fluid, right? Because all we're seeing here, we've imaged just the air. So this must be air inside the scope, the edge of the lungs here. It's really a neat data set. And we're going to do the same thing next where we fly through this. And so there's a little bit of air left in the stomach. I hope this person was unconscious for this. Okay. And then so we could make a movie. We could do a fly-through movie by setting a keyframe, zooming, cropping, right? And so we could take the crop tool and crop in like this if we wanted to. And all of that will be, click on movie at the top, and I add 30 frames for each step, so that's 3 times 4 would be 120. Hit compute and hit play, and I don't know how it does it, but it can do it very quickly. And it will go through and play through those keyframes, right? So just to prove that we have our whole movie there ready to go. And then if you want to save the movie, you can tell it what size you want to save it, and just hit save, okay? All right, I'm not going to do that. And so what we're going to do is we are going to revert the data set, revert the series. All right, and so that's going to undo all the scissor editing that we did. Nothing in Osirix is permanent. It's all temporal. And this gets us back to where we were. And we're going to bring back, so it even undid the inversion of data, and which is fine. That's fine. And so now what we're going to do is we are going to go and use the endoscopy feature. So we can close this. You can also get to that revert series at any time. So taking this data set, we're going to go in here and choose, let's see here, endoscopy, 3D endoscopy. And you're going to get a multiplanar view. And what you're going to do is you're going to use one of the windows, which is this window down here. This is what we're going to render. And this is where we are. So right now we're on this side, the anatomic left side of the body. And what we want to do is we want to click and be inside here. And this is the direction that we're going, right? And so we're going to face down here. And you can actually shift and pan and shift and drag to move inside this window. I haven't done it in a while. Or you can navigate from this view. And then there should be a way to pan through the views. Yeah, so if we go over here, let me see here. So we can turn this around. But basically this is your heading, and this is what you see in the viewport, I realize. And then you can still use your window leveling. Let's see here. You can also kind of create the same endoscopy type of view, I think, with without hang on a second, let me organize this. Let's see here. I think I'm actually upside down, but oh, there we go. That's the direction we want to go. Yeah. And so I'm just clicking and panning and going forward. There we go. Right? And you can use the same movie making features if you wanted to make your movie here. And like I said, you can create the same window leveling effects. We talked about before. I don't know why the lighting on that is so bad, but it is. So, but this gives you an idea, and you just have to, this is like a lot of things, you just got to play with it until you get the hang of it. But this is the endoscopy feature, and so now we're crawling around through this guy's bowels. Charming. There we go. And so now what we're doing is we're looking up this way, right? Yeah. And that's it. So that's how you do the endoscopy viewer and how you do in the version of data sets. And then also, I guess the last thing we could do would be a 3D volume rendering of just the normal data set. And most of the times that these things don't work out, they don't work out because there aren't enough slices in the series, because most of what doctors save on disk and give to you is not all that great. And so here I'm just using the crop tool, and this is just a 3D volume rendering, right? Turn shading off. And you could make a 16-bit color lookup table here. And what I usually do is I make one of these, it's up here. Turn shading back on for a second. It's a pretty neat study. I mean, you can get in here and see all the vasculature, and you could probably compress this a little bit and make those even more visible. That's a pretty good study. And then you could have another, I'm going to hit this little plus button over here, make another data set, and make another CLUT, change it to blue, green, and then drop these down. And so the lower you make them, the more transparent they are. And if you move them around just right, you can kind of create a little Fresnel effect. You can start to see some of the outline of the bowel in there. And what it's doing is it's picking up some of the air at the edges. Yeah, at the edges there. And so that's kind of cool, you know. You see big calcifications there in the aorta. So that's it. I hope that's helpful. And yeah. And again, you could save all this stuff, but I'm not going to go through that because I showed you that earlier. All right, I guess that's it. Good luck.